How it's me, how I'm the H and HI royalty. So I've received my daughter's diploma. It's been about a month since it arrived, and they did not spell her name properly. Yeah, big sigh on that. Spell her name properly. I mean, it's the respect for me. Reason being is that if somebody shows up 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., I mean, spell the name right. I mean, I feel so differently now about education. When I was growing up, it was so emphasized and it was so prioritized. And so I always believed that it was something necessary. And any time that I heard of like a fellow classmate dropping out, I would be like, gosh, what a loser. But I just feel like going to school every day and not really having a guarantee of like a scholarship or job placement or something to guarantee that all of this isn't for nothing. And I'm like, no, now I feel like I was the loser for being in school. Nobody paid me to be there. That's why truancy is such a thing. And like, how many times did they misspell my name? I don't even need to be here right now. It's seriously inconvenient, honestly. Despite that, those are my own thoughts and feelings. That's not necessarily a reflection of my daughter's thoughts or feelings. She is absolutely bright. She's always been highlighted as being incredibly smart, intelligent, and this is the reason that she graduated early. I think she could have graduated like at 6 or 7. She's always been so smart, so sharp, and so in advance at a very young age. She's just always been such a genius. She says things to me that I'm like, oh duh, and I'm an adult, obviously. I mean, I'm a little bit special. I'm an adult with disabilities, so it's fine. And I'm so happy that it wasn't hereditary. My daughter was homeschooled. I homeschooled the first 2 years. She scored incredibly high in reading and math and English. Always been a very high level reader, and I was very proud of that. It said this student has scored above average like nationally, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of this. And be like, look, my daughter scored like really high and her grades are really high, and I was just really proud of that. I think C is like the lowest grade that she's ever had in all of her years, and that's a lot of years to go through elementary, junior high, high school. That's a lot. So I think the worst grade she's ever had is like a C that I've ever seen. A C or maybe a D one semester. When I regained custody and she was home with me again, there was a transition there, and I think that was a little bit of a challenge. I mean, her resilience is incredible. Of course, she brought those grades right back up in time to graduate early. When I did notice the C's and D's, like my heart like dropped also, and I was really concerned, and I was like, do you need help? Can I help you? Like is there something that you need? The grades reflect like if we're doing well. So there was a concern with that, very like temporarily. And she was like, no, I'm fine. She experienced a little bit of, some mental health issues. And I think that that's something that we have to commit ourselves to ongoing. Like we have to commit to our well-being, our mental health. Despite the challenges, we were homeless and I was unemployed, and I was actively seeking employment. I was bringing my daughter with me everywhere. I mean, it was a really sad story, and I'm not gonna cry about it right now. I've committed myself to my mental health and well-being. This way I can be the mother that she is naturally and rightfully supposed to have and does have. She has absolutely an active and loving mother with me. I've not been perfect, but I do see myself to be a great mother. Despite the circumstances, I've never excused myself from my position as a mother. And I will be discussing the debt of child support that I see to be a scam. I do think child support is a scam, and I think the audacity of the supposed paternal family members and those that I see to be corrupted in the quote-unquote family law, and the injustices that my daughter and myself endured during that time and what we're experiencing currently. So I am fundraising on that. I'm fundraising on eliminating that debt. I don't believe I owe that debt to society or anybody else. And I think that when the paternal family members showed up in court and they promised to be guardians and complete responsibilities including financial responsibilities, etc. They should have did that. Instead, they went on public assistance and then they pursued me for that amount. It's a scam in more ways than one. The other part of the scam is that they, seeing me to be unemployed and an adult with disabilities, they know that that's not a debt that would ever allow me to live the quality of life that I deserve to have. You know, my license was suspended. I was denied a passport to go anywhere if I wanted to do anything with my life. So the child support situation is kind of time sensitive, and there's the highest unreasonable interest on it. It's so beyond and overwhelming. And I think anybody would say, well, how did it even get to court, like, et cetera, et cetera. To anybody that like has anything to say about that, and before anybody is quick to jump to comment on that, because I know that it sounds very irresponsible. It's not a good reflection of any mother or father to neglect their children. It's not a good thing. I understand that, but what I'm saying is that that's not me. I'm not classified as a deadbeat, and that's not me, and I know that my credit score says otherwise, and so that's the problem. And I also know that that's not anybody else's problem, that's my problem. And I think that there's a lot of value in our story, and I think that in me sharing our story and sharing my experiences, it can be very helpful to others, especially if anybody was like me with literally no support at all. And I went to YouTube and Google for everything, so I think that it can be appreciated in this way. If viewers want to support, they want to subscribe and things like that, if anybody's just inspired to do that. If they're not, that's okay. But I do think that it's a good idea to subscribe to our channel so that the complete truth from like the horse's mouth is understood completely. Because there is a lot that can be confusing, especially like what I just mentioned. My credit score says that I'm basically not a responsible mother, and that's far from the truth. I'm very responsible. The only way that I would be irresponsible to my daughter is if I was dead and in the ground. That's the only way that I would ever be unresponsive to her. Otherwise, I'm completely present, actively responsible. I don't feel obligated or responsible. I've made a number of payments towards it, and as I just said, it instead of decreasing, it's like it doubled. I believe in myself. I believe in myself and my ability to solve problems. I just understand that I'm not the brightest star in the sky. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box. So in the essence of time, I just think it's a good idea that I share my experiences and inspire others, and if they choose to support, that is incredibly appreciated. Because in the essence of time, and to obviously avoid it tripling, I have to I have to think of ways to basically eliminate that debt. I don't like to refer to it as a debt. It's not my debt. I don't appreciate that it's in my name. The way that I received, this is actually talking about the child support, when that wasn't anything that I wasn't planning on talking about that. I'm talking about high school graduation. And I was talking about education, and I went into talking about homeschool and everything else, homelessness and what happened with that, etc. We're just not a victim of circumstances, and I dislike my credit score showing me to be somebody that I'm not. I don't like that my character, my name has been mixed up with somebody that I don't identify to be. Being that I've never experienced something this way, I have to really think outside of my own mind of how to figure it out, how to solve this problem. When I received the notice that they were pursuing me for child support, it was a different name on there. It was my name, but it was misspelled, and I think they were kind of looking to locate the mother or the father, because I've been misgendered on paper as well. My name isn't exactly feminine. I don't appear to be too feminine, obviously. Like, I have masculine features. So basically what I'm saying is that I could have ignored that. I could have ignored the paper, not responded to it, and that would have been a POS mom. That would have been an irresponsible mom. That would have been somebody that was trying to evade child support responsibilities to support their child. Instead, I responded to it. I corrected them in saying, don't misspell my name, spell my name properly. Yes, I am the mother, and this is my address, this is my phone number, etc., etc. So that's that. That is in total contrast of the quote-unquote presumed father. Totally a different story with that. And to think of the commitment that I've made as a mother to my daughter and the lack of commitment from them, it's just not equal. We're not equal really in any way. I do blame them. I blame them for not helping me when I needed help. We endured a lot of unfortunate circumstances, so to hell with them. I also accept my own responsibility, very much accountable. I also don't believe the DNA results, like the presumed father is biological nor natural. I think that the county was so desperate to appoint somebody for child support that they can pursue for child support. No, I don't see the resemblance. We're not related. He's not on the birth certificate. He's in debt. It really is the children that have to be cared about. And children, if anybody has children, like, children really are the future. And I know how cliche and just whatever that sounds like, but it's just true. Children really are the future. I think it's necessary and kind of like a human responsibility, kind of, to make sure that children are cared about, that they're taught well. My heart is just like thinking of my daughter and just how all of this has affected her. I'm just so committed to her as her mom, and being a mom, like trying to accept myself. I'm just trying to accept myself in the fact that I'm not perfect. I'm a beautiful and great mom. She agrees with that. I think the circumstances and situation has kind of taken that away from her, and that's not fair. So I think it's only right that she has the clarity above confusion. I talk about this on my podcast. My podcast is Royalty in Real Life Podcast. I am on Apple, Spotify, and now iHeart Radio. So I'm kind of like really, really happy about that. More about us. There's just a lot. There's so much more to discuss. There's so much, like, literally, it's a lot. And so YouTube has kind of been an outlet. So I appreciate everybody subscribing, supporting, sharing the content with anybody that needs to listen to everything that I've been talking about if they're experiencing something similar. I am looking into private investigations and that sort of thing. Lawyers, attorneys, actual legitimate lawyers and attorneys in criminal, family, and civil law. I do have a number of cases that I want to pursue against those people. So I just like, that would be super great. I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video, to listen to me, basically. To listen to me, I appreciate that. I don't want to ask for prayers. I really will hallelujah and say wow to God if miracles can be achieved in my life with my daughter. I can't express enough in words, like, or what else I could possibly do. Like, her life to me is like my commitment. My responsibility is to make sure that my daughter is living well and good, and that she's as happy as she can possibly be, despite the circumstances, despite the situation. Like, that's literally like my life duty and my life purpose. So the only good thing about this situation is it's bringing me closer to God, highlighting my spirituality and my beliefs in a beautiful way. Just my beliefs, like, on a religious kind of note. Clarity above confusion to her. Reason being is that I think that as a human, as a child that's growing and developing, the trauma that she endured, it's inhumane, and I do fault myself forever exposing either one of us during a time that we were vulnerable. I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do, and I was just kind of all over the place in a mess myself. And understand that I became a mom at 21, so there was a lot that happened to me prior to becoming a mom that I had not dealt with. So this is the reason that I've committed to my mental health and well-being, so that I can be fully present as a mom to her, to my daughter, to continue to support her in her growth and development completely. She has so much potential. She is pursuing her license, I believe, in psychology. The world of mental health, she'll do well in anything that she does. She will absolutely excel. She'll be the best at it, and she's always been great at everything that she does. I noticed that I only smiled when I mentioned my podcast. There's a lot of tension in my eyebrows. I'm actually going to discuss more in therapy. So I'll be talking about the fact that it's been really challenging for me to be able to discuss the problems that I've experienced from the courts and from the quote-unquote paternal family members, to separate that from my position as a mother. And when I talk about being a mom, I'm happy, I light up, I love to love my daughter, and I'm very happy. She is my dimpled smile. My dimpled smile is basically, I have one dimple on this cheek of mine, and when I smile really, really big, my dimple shows. So I always tell her that she's my dimpled smile. She makes my heart melt, and she is like the sound of me breathing. My daughter is everything, and she just deserves to have so much more than she was ever given. I really want to see her happy, genuinely and sincerely happy, not just like pretending to be happy or trying to be happy. I know the way that we have to literally turn music on. I can think of a time that we didn't need to hype ourselves up. We were just naturally happy, and now we just kind of need a little bit of encouragement sometimes, and that bothers me. So it bothers me that it's confusing. So I kind of look upset when I'm talking, not really angry about anything. When I'm going to therapy, I will be talking about how I want to separate the feelings of the problems that I have endured from my position as a mother. It's the reason that I started therapy in the first place, is so that I can kind of unpack and leave things where they're supposed to be, so that I can move on. I can just pack light and and just be happier and reflect that, not just saying it with my words, but actually really living and being this level of happy, myself and my daughter. So that's something we have to commit to, believe in that, because I know what hopelessness feels like. I know what depression. So I am incredibly happy about my daughter graduating early and just graduating in general. I absolutely believe in my daughter, and I've always believed in her. I've always seen her to be incredibly fierce, and this is something that is a proven fact. It's not like I'm just mom and I want to just kind of proudly say that she's so great, etc. She just truly is, and I really am proud of being her mom, that she's my daughter. I love to love my daughter, and I don't see myself ever not loving. I feel like I would only love her more, I could never love her less. I'm sure that she loves me as well. She's not really expressing that. Currently, I think the circumstances has just really been in the way. My daughter and myself really have to be able to be the truth that we are. This is the reason that I talk so much about our truth on my podcast, Royalty in Real Life podcast. There's so much about us that I see to be true, in fact, actually, and it's just so much more than what was, what we endured. We've always been better than, greater than, and we're just bigger than all of our problems. I really believe in us. So I'm just really happy, and I'm pretty sure she's happy and proud of herself as well. I think that if she really was able to highlight everything about me, her mother, she would really have the respect and appreciation to me the same way that I have to her. I always tell her clarity above confusion, and that she will be in her truth. I see the way that she highlights me, that she respects me and is proud of me. On the topic of being happy, I'm just so proud of I believe in my daughter, and I believe in her to always be great in life and everything that she does. I believe in myself this way as well. Like, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. She's a beautiful golden apple, and she's a beautiful golden egg of mine. I think some of the lectures that I give are kind of scary. Being a golden egg and protecting ourselves, our bodies as girls, as young women, and our eggs, like literally. That's another topic as well, birth control and that sort of thing, and our rights as girls, my body, my choice, very real. So to say that I wasn't invited to my daughter's graduation is like saying that I wasn't invited to my life, right? So I do feel very entitled. A lot of her supposed friends are saying that I think that I'm entitled just being her mother, and that's something that triggers me as I think of a time that I was in court and the quote-unquote judge actually was a referee in the family court, said that I was not entitled to have my daughter. I wasn't sure how to like counter that, how to basically say, but that's exactly the right that I have. But that's what they refer to us as in the courts, as case. They give us case numbers, and they really don't have too much compassion or empathy, especially if I'm supposed to be the bad guy. I agree with the fact that giving birth to someone doesn't automatically entitle somebody to a child if they're abusing the child, etc., neglect, etc., abandonment, etc., and none of those things are ever me. And I'll discuss more about that whole situation, but I'm just saying that the friends and everybody who doesn't have a position to really say anything about us, they don't have that right, they don't have that authority, and I am entitled. So I didn't require an invitation to her graduation necessarily. I just wanted her to want me to be there, and I wanted her to verbally say that, express that in her actions, and she wasn't doing that. So I think she really has to stand up for herself. I think I see the truth that she really is saying. She does want me to be there. The fake friends, I don't like any of them. They're never welcome here, and I don't like them. They should have never did what they did, and they're basically on that side. They're on that side with those people over there, and they can stay over there. And that's fine. My daughter is supposed to be with me, and I think they know that. They know where her true place is, and they don't want that. I did send a number of emails to the school, and they responded as if I was some outsider. They didn't want me to be at the graduation. They didn't want me to communicate to my daughter anything. I've not been crazy, like the way that they're trying to say that I'm crazy. They keep throwing around the word crazy, and I've literally not been crazy at all. I don't want to feed into their false narrative. So I want my daughter, when I say she has to stand up for herself, I am absolutely her mother. I'm in place. I'm absolutely responsible and obligated to always provide to her and protect her. She always has more than she could ever need or want with me. She has everything and more. I believe in her to really believe in herself, the best choice, the best lifestyle, the best life that she could possibly have, her truth and her place with me in life, her mother, the one and only person that's always been there, that's always provided to her, always protected her. Now, I'm not perfect, so when they legally kidnapped her, and then they tried to throw the shame on me about how I was quote-unquote absent, etc., like, they put up all of these walls to try to keep me away from her, and they told everybody that I was crazy so that they understood why I wasn't around. If we think about how many days it is just for something to become a habit, think about how many years of trauma would it take to affect and impact somebody's life in a negative way, how much more time it would require to reverse all of the trauma. And I'm living proof that we never really overcome the trauma. We just have to kind of get better at dealing with all of the trauma, and that's not easy. There's all these new words of what something is titled or new coping mechanisms. I feel like I deserve to be happy. I feel like my daughter deserves to be happy, and that's it. And I don't think that's asking for much. I think the situation over the past 10 years or so, I know I said like 8, then I said 10 years, like it's just been too many years of trauma, and I think that affected her in a severe way. I really don't know what else to do. I mentioned this a number of times already, that I called all these numbers, I've contacted all the people that I can think to contact, and nobody's responding the way that I feel like they should. I promise that I'm not one of these people on the news talking about the system failed me. I'm on YouTube. This is our channel, and I do discuss it also on my podcast, but I'm not like out here crying, victim crying. I do think that they do need to be held responsible, accountable, etc. for all of their faults and flaws, but they just don't want to admit that. So like every time that I speak, basically, is just going to reveal and expose them even more. So all of their false narrative is just going to be shut down. I feel like they will be sorry, because a lot of people are when they make mistakes. I don't accept apologies. I don't accept apologies, and I don't believe in forgiveness like that. I know the challenges that it's been to both of us, and I believe in us to be more than that. To be more than like we're bigger than all of it, really. We are. Anyway, so this high school graduation is something that I feel is obviously a milestone. It's a major life achievement. And I don't want to make this about them. It's not really about them, but it's their fault. They're in the way. They've been in the way for a long time. She's only human. I'm only human. She's just able to snap out of the delusion that I think that she's experiencing, and I don't want to call her delusional. She's referred to me as delusional many times. I think that's just her projecting their thoughts and feelings. In the past 10 years, she's just always been kind of their speaker box, and she's not been reflective of her truth at all. She just has to find her voice, her truth, and speak her truth. And I know that experience. I know the experience of somebody trying to put words in my mouth, somebody trying to make me basically say, I notice that about myself when I say things that I don't normally say. Like, that's literally the signs of somebody being held hostage. It's literally the signs of somebody under distress or duress, is when they start talking in ways that they don't normally talk, doing things they don't normally do, behaving in ways that they don't normally do. Like, out of the ordinary, out of the norm for that. Like, we have to be able to identify one another. Like, we have to be able to notice those. That's red flags. So I noticed that. So when she says things like I'm delusional or crazy, I know that she's only projecting what they've been telling her. And her truth is greater, superior, and she will find her voice. She will find her truth. I absolutely believe in her to do that. So it's not necessarily that I care so much about high school graduation. It's more so what that meant to her, what that highlighted in her life. And I wanted to celebrate that with her. Because I know it's not been easy. So it's more than just high school graduation. It's that she, like, it's just about her. It's not about the graduation. Okay, so I was able to find, and I did see my daughter's graduation, my high school graduation. It was the middle of summer, and I had on long sleeves, a stained shirt. I had on long leather boots. I had on a skirt, though, underneath my graduation gown. So it was like I was getting a little bit of a breeze. Hot AF, basically. I didn't have a wardrobe. So I think it's easy to look at me and just be like, oh my god, like this poor little dirty girl. Pat me on the back, A for effort, because I made it through. It's so much more than that. It's not just like survivor pride or being super resilient and all that good stuff. There's just something so pure and beautiful about us and our strength, and being able to see myself. Being able to look at myself in the mirror, recognize myself, be true to myself. And obviously, I think graduating high school, it's like, do I even know who I am? Anyways, I did see my daughter's graduation pictures. She's so beautiful, and I noticed the shoes, and I was with her when she got those shoes, and I know where she got those shoes from, and like I just like overwhelmed with emotion, just because it's like, I feel like we're rich. Our soul is rich. Our spirit is rich. And this is why I say that we're royalty in real life. It's so necessary to highlight that. it's necessary to highlight that because we could forget. So just remind yourself of that. We really are royalty in our life. The value of self-worth, self-esteem, confidence, trust me, the value of being able to live your life confidently. It's easy to feel less confident, like to lose self-esteem if we have like dirty shoes or dirty clothes. It would be easy to just like give up or not believe in ourselves. None of the circumstances and the situation is our truth. None of that. And the beauty of us, like the real beauty of us, shows us the reasons that we can believe in ourselves, that we have to believe in ourselves, and that we're capable of achieving so much more than what we've been dealing with. We have to see, it's kind of like really cute, like the cat that was looking in the mirror. The cat that's looking in the mirror and sees like a lion. You know, you really have to see more and see beyond what is kind of in the time. We have to see our future. We have to see what we're moving towards. It's not really trying, because I've heard this a lot with a lot of motivational speakers. They say to show up as the person that we want to be. I think if we just show up as ourselves, like that's the best. Like, be yourself, be present in yourself. I'm proud of myself. I'm not proud of everything that's happened, but I'm proud of myself. So that's that. And I'm always gonna have that. And my daughter will always have that. Just the way that she does her makeup, the way that she styles her hair, the way that she adds her jewelry. It's really, really challenging for me being able to be as proud and highlight my daughter in all of her truth and also protect her. We deserve to be celebrated, and I'm celebrating us all the time. Like, I tell the truth, I don't tell stories. And I just want to quickly say, my graduation from high school was a mess. However, I somehow made it through, and although I was a quote-unquote super senior, meaning that I was held back a year, I did graduate, and I'll discuss more about my own situation on my own channel, the Homegirl Hell. Anyways, I did graduate high school, and at my high school graduation, my mother wasn't there, my father wasn't there, neither of them were there at my graduation. So I think that she might say that she willfully didn't want me to be at her graduation, and I don't believe that to be true. She'll arrive at the realization of her truth and see that she did want me to be there, and so she'll have her own issues to address with what she's doing, able to live a life without regrets. So I just want to tell her not to feel too sad about the fact that neither of her parents were at her graduation or any of that. My parents, they were not at my graduation, and I didn't feel sad about that. It's kind of like, you know, if you're not there at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best type of thing. If either of my parents showed up, I probably would have been like I would probably be kind of upset. Like, who invited you guys? Anyways, I wasn't sad about it is what I'm saying. Like, if I can find any of my high school pictures, I mean, I was smiling. I was very happy, especially because I wasn't sure if I was going to graduate at all, and I was not fascinated with the idea of having a GED. I was like, diploma sounds so much better, and I just don't want to feel like I failed. So I was just happy to just get my diploma. I didn't care who was there, who wasn't there. I was happy of the people that were there, though. There were other kind of relatives there. I don't believe I would have made it through high school without them, honestly. That's a lot of credit to give those relatives. Like, oh, I wouldn't have made it without you. And like, no, I made it this far, so I'm pretty sure I would have been all right anyways. But I think there was something like very beneficial of having relatives or familiar faces there every day, especially because I was dealing with like bullying and other type of harassment. So just having like other relatives there just made me feel very safe, and like I just felt more confident. And I was actually like excited about going to school, and I started going to like games, like the football games and stuff, which is something that I never did before because I've always been like very introverted and to myself. So things kind of changed the last 2 years of my junior and senior year of high school. So things like for the better. It was still very challenging circumstances. Again, I'll discuss more about that like on my own channel. But I just want to say there's so much about us that's so beautiful, and it's not just because like as a survivor. It's just the truth about us, our resilience, our strength, our power, the incredible, like what we're made of. It's just like, it's almost not even human. We're definitely human. Your strength and your power is incredibly like immeasurable. I wouldn't say immeasurable or invaluable, like highly valuable, and like I'm not sure how to even measure it. So incredible, so infinite, so beyond. I mean, it is. I think humans have this infinite potential to just continuously grow. If we think we know everything, then we probably don't really know much, because life is so ready to teach anybody. Whoever thinks that they have figured everything out, like life is ready to show them that they don't. So I always remind myself of that, and I remind myself of the fact that I grew up like in a house of immigrants, and their hope was that I do become educated and smart, and that I am able to create a life that they weren't able to have. So I remind myself of that. You know, whenever I just have like negative thoughts or perspectives on education, I'm just like, well, there's a lot of like promising benefits of education, and I think it's just a matter of having a plan. And I don't really like to say executing a plan, like that sounds kind of dangerous. I know that every circumstance and situation is different. I've had friends in school that dropped out of high school to go to work because they would rather make money than just sit in a classroom, and I understand that. I know there are kids that were also out of school because they became parents or young moms and dads at a young age, and they got their GED, etc. So I say all that just to say that there are seriously challenging circumstances and situations that we don't ask for, but that happens, and then we just kind of have to like figure it out and deal with it. And I really have that respect to my daughter, how she does that, how she's just able to say all of this is happening and I'm gonna continue to show up for myself. She committed to showing up for herself, to proving that she can, and she was an honors, she's an honors student. So I mean, she really excelled the basic, the average. She really excelled in ways that she was never expected to, because the challenges was, I mean, when I really start to talk about our experience and all of the trauma that we endured, I mean, it's just we're walking, talking miracles. So I just have that much more respect to my daughter, so much more love to express to her, that you are beautiful, you're resilient, like your strength and your power under a lot of this type of stress, undue stress, that would literally set anybody or push anybody back to try to figure out, what did I do wrong, and how did any of this happen? Like, it'll really just boggle anybody's mind. I mean, life goes on, right? So we have to keep on keeping on. It's just a lot. It's really overwhelming, and I think it's even more incredible to see someone such as myself and my daughter. This is about her. Just seeing the way that she's not only excelled academically, but she's excelled in just as a human. She's the most beautiful human being that I've ever had the privilege of interacting with. And she's always been very like breathtakingly beautiful, yes. And my heart is just like, I'm very saddened if I can't just say that to her like right now. Like I literally could not live. I would not. I'm not interested in living without my daughter. So I know that sounds really dramatic. The worst case scenario, like it'll just be over. I feel like we've been under the circumstances for many years, and the circumstances has painted us to be different people, not who we really are. And I don't like that, because there's a truth about us. There's a truth about us that we're supposed to be living. Like, think about a circumstances. A circumstances is literally wrong time, wrong place. So when we think about our truth is perfect. Our truth is in alignment with like God's truth. And I don't mean to make this like religious. There's like a real kind of divine truth. That will always be and always is. No matter the circumstances, the situation, our truth will always be, and it will show, it will reflect in other ways if we notice it. We have to notice this. We have to see it. So I think there's a lot of ways that we've been coping, and I don't want to cope anymore. I don't want to be out of my truth. I want to be in my truth, and I want to be happy in my truth. I really am like trying not to cry on these videos because I don't want to look crazy and out of my mind. It affects me, you know, my voice tone changes, my body language is not giving truth. There's so much in here that I'm just not okay with. So I am going back to therapy. The insight that I have tells me, like my better sense and my intuition and my instincts basically tells me that we have a very long life and we have a beautiful future to live. So I am in all ways telling her that and reminding her of her beauty, her strength, her power, and the reality of it is true, is something to celebrate always. That's just like a quick highlight on me. And I don't want to confuse like my life with my daughter's life. I absolutely expect that my daughter's life is 100 million, billion, trillion times greater than mine. And I see some of the similarities of her experiences with my own. We have to make a difference, and the future is bright and beautiful and lovely, reflective of us in our truth. She is the future, children are the future, so I support her in her growth, her development is absolutely beautiful. Subscribe, like, comment, all those things, tap the bell and support us. Thanks.